All right, folks, quick XRP price video because there's a 12-year trend line that we need to talk about, as well as a descending triangle, which is a bearish chart pattern, which is indicating a dump on XRP. And so we're going to look at the charts and I'll share my thoughts on where things are going to be heading. But before we get into that, Binance traders, they seem to think that things are going to be heading in a bullish direction. The Binance traders are turning increasingly bullish on XRP. Is a $4 XRP next? So the traders are turning bullish with their long short ratio. This is going to refer to the number of long accounts, people betting on the price going up, versus short accounts, people betting on the price going down. This is suggesting a major number of participants are on the long side and they're outweighing people on the short side. More people are betting on the price going up versus down. We have the numbers here. The current ratio is 3.05. This indicates that the number of individuals holding long positions 3.05 times higher than those holding short positions. But it gets even better when we're looking at the top traders. A similar trend is being seen for Binance's top traders. The long short ratio there is 3.67. But now we have the top traders very bullish on XRP on Binance, which, mind you, is the largest exchange globally. More people trade on Binance than anything. Now let's talk about this 12-year trend line. I want to give a shout out to the person Mama Gucci finding this chart here. This is very dubious, and this is definitely some moon math. We're going to come back to the moon math in a second. When you look at this on a log chart, which is what that chart is, you get an insanely bullish price prediction, whether it's this trend line or coming to the top of this parallel range. But let's look at the short-term price action first. This is what I really wanted to pay attention to. This is looking very, very bullish. Now, descending triangles, you might be saying to your screen, DZ, thought these were bearish. Ascending triangles are bullish. Descending triangles are bearish. Well, you are correct, but it's closer to a coin toss than you might think. Now, I'm getting this data from Wall Street Zen. This is from one of their finance blogs here. They have the breakdown on the percentages of descending triangles. This generates a bearish breakout 54% of the time. So 54% of the time, the price is going to be heading down. And not only will it head down, it'll head out to their breakout target. Now, descending triangles aren't always inherently bearish. Like we said, 54% of the time it will hit that downside target. That means some of the time it's heading up in a significant way. It needs one thing though. It needs to be in that existing uptrend. Typically you see coming from a downtrend, it's going to continue to the downside. If you're coming from an uptrend, then you have better odds of the price heading higher. And if we look, XRP coming from an uptrend, this is the 12-hour chart that we're looking at here, but you can also, it looks pretty clean on a 4-hour or on the 1 day. Now, the way you measure a descending triangle is measure the maximum height from the top and the bottom. Now, you can say the bottom was reached, the target was here already, or you can make an argument that no, you want to wait for that second touch, which will give you a different price target. We're going to look at both of them. This is the more conservative breakout target. This is going to give us, you see the breakout happening now, 360. This is the target I've seen most people talk about, but I would say there is an argument to run it all the way down here. You see a little bit of confluence. If you draw the line out, we knocked against it 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth daily candle, then it finally broke through. So we could say there's a little price confluence here. This little target, this is going to give us a $3.81 XRP. So now you have the shorter term price action. Now you have my more, I would say likely scenario playing out in the short term. But you're here, you want to see this 12-year trend line, you want to see the moon math. So let's go ahead and give you the moon math. Now, by no means do I think XRP is going to be heading here in any time, especially this decade. Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it, let alone this cycle. But if it were to play out, at least the top of this parallel range, I'll go say the 12-year trend line, you're looking at a $30 XRP. That's going to be Q3 2026. If it were to happen in Q4, say the tail end of Q4 2025, the January 1st price is going to be $21. So do I think $20 XRP this cycle this year? Certainly not. But what about the top of this parallel range? So this range, again, on a log chart, a little dubious. You can see a lot of action here around the halfway point. But if we were to manage to hit the top, let's just say the end of Q1 2026, so we're going to say, the end of March, beginning of April, that is a $16 XRP There's your little moon math. I do think 380, 360, very, very likely over the next 30, 60 days, especially as we get rate cuts from Jerome Powell. I expect a lot of red wicks, 24, 48, 72 hours after the fact. Rate cuts come September 17th. Once those longs are washed out, that's when I think XRP can continue the uptrend. Perhaps we'll come down and retest this red trend line before it moves to the upside. So there's your XRP price action analysis. I'm DZ4 Discover Crypto. I'll see you in your XRP bags if you hold it at the top.